Cameras flashed. "A hand up," Alex Sterling announced, extending a job offer to the woman huddled on the grate. Her eyes, sharp beneath the grime, met his. Ice. What dark secret connected them? Alex Sterling III adjusted the knot of his silk tie, forcing a compassionate smile for the assembled news crews. Channel 7, the local blog, even a stringer for a national paper. Perfect. The biting November wind whipped around the corner of the gleaming Sterling Industries tower, but Alex felt only the warmth of the camera lights, the satisfying glow of positive PR. He'd orchestrated this moment carefully. Find a suitably pitiable-looking homeless person near the office entrance, someone who looked down on their luck but not too threatening, and make a grand public gesture. Offer them a job. Cleaning crew. Entry-level, sure, but a job. A chance. Proof that Sterling Industries, despite its ruthless reputation in the boardroom, had a heart. It played well. Counteracted that nasty exposé last month about offshore tax shelters. His father would approve of the strategy, if not the sentiment. The woman ticked all the boxes. Mid-40s maybe, huddled against the granite wall, clutching a thin, stained blanket. Her face was smudged with city grime, hair matted and hidden beneath a worn wool hat. She looked weary, resigned. Exactly the image Alex wanted. The perfect symbol of urban despair receiving a lifeline from sterling benevolence. "We believe in second chances," Alex proclaimed, his voice resonating with practiced sincerity, pitched just right for the microphones. "Here at Sterling Industries, we offer opportunity. A hand up, not just a handout." He crouched slightly, careful not to get too close, extending his hand towards the woman. "What's your name?" The woman looked up slowly. Her eyes, visible beneath the shadow of the hat brim, were startlingly clear, sharp, intelligent. They held none of the vacant hopelessness he expected. Instead, they seemed to assess him, coolly, clinically. It was disconcerting, for a fleeting second. Alex felt a prickle of unease, like he was the one being evaluated. He quickly dismissed it. Stress, lack of sleep. "Clara?" she murmured, her voice surprisingly steady, though quiet. She ignored his outstretched hand. "Clara Bell." Bell. The name meant nothing to him. "Well, Clara Bell," Alex continued, plastering the smile back on, turning slightly to ensure the cameras caught his good side. "Sterling Industries would like to offer you a position. Janitorial staff, full-time, benefits. A chance to get back on your feet." He waited for the expected reaction. Tears of gratitude, overwhelmed stammering. Instead, Clara simply nodded, slowly. "All right," she said, her voice flat. "I accept." No fanfare, no emotion, just acceptance. It wasn't quite the reaction his PR team had hoped for, but the cameras were rolling, the narrative set. Alex stood up, brushing imaginary dust from his expensive overcoat. "Excellent. My assistant, Jessica, will handle the paperwork. Welcome. Aboard, Clara." He gave a final, magnanimous wave to the reporters, then strode purposefully back towards the gleaming lobby doors, leaving Jessica, his perpetually flustered assistant, to deal with the actual logistics of onboarding a homeless woman. He didn't look back. Clara Bell was just a means to an end, a prop in his carefully staged play. He wouldn't think of her again until the next quarterly PR review. Clara watched him go, her expression unreadable. The cold wind didn't seem to bother her. She clutched the blanket tighter, but her eyes remained fixed on the retreating figure of Alex Sterling III. The first step was complete. She was inside. Getting hired was surprisingly easy. Jessica, clearly uncomfortable, rushed through the forms, barely glancing at the threadbare documents Clara provided. A worn Social Security card, a state ID listing a shelter address. Background check? A cursory glance at a database likely revealed nothing under Clara Bell. It was a clean identity, carefully constructed years ago for just such a purpose. The cleaning job itself was mind-numbing. mopping floors that gleamed even before she touched them, emptying trash bins filled with artisanal coffee cups and discarded financial reports, dusting surfaces already spotless. She kept her head down, worked diligently, spoke only when spoken to, offering quiet, monosyllabic answers. She faded into the background exactly as planned. Just another anonymous member of the night crew, clad in the ill-fitting gray uniform. Invisible. Perfect. But while her hands wiped down desks and polished chrome, her mind worked constantly, observing, listening, memorizing layouts, noting security patrol patterns, identifying key personnel. Alex Sterling, she learned, rarely stayed late. He swept in around 9, held court in his penthouse office suite, restricted access naturally, and usually left by 6, whisked away in a chauffeured sedan. He never acknowledged the cleaning staff, never made eye contact. Clara was just part of the building's infrastructure, less noticeable than the flickering fluorescent light in the third-floor hallway. This suited her perfectly. Her target wasn't Alex himself, not yet. It was the building's history, its secrets. Specifically, the old company archives, rumored to be stored in a sub-basement vault, untouched for decades. According to her research, pieced together from fragmented family letters and whispered stories her grandmother told her before dementia stole her memories, the foundation of Sterling Industries wasn't built solely on the genius of Alex's grandfather, Alistair Sterling. It was built on a partnership Alistair had systematically erased after his partner's convenient, untimely death. That partner was Clara's great-grandfather, Thomas Bell, the inventor, the innovator, the true source of the company's original, groundbreaking patents. Alistair, the shrewd businessman, had handled the money, the contracts, and apparently, the betrayal. Clara needed proof. The original partnership agreement, lab notebooks, anything linking Thomas Bell's work directly to the company's initial success. Proof Alistair had stolen it all, leaving Clara's family with nothing but grief and faded memories, while the Sterlings built an empire on their stolen legacy. The archives were her only hope. Accessing them was the challenge. Security was tight, especially around the older, restricted parts of the building. Key cards, motion sensors, cameras. Clara spent weeks observing, mapping routes, noting changes. She learned which guards were diligent, which were easily distracted by their phones. She studied the building schematics she found carelessly left unrolled in a forgotten maintenance closet. She used her cleaning cart as cover, lingering near restricted doorways, noting keypad codes punched in by hurried executives. Her quiet demeanor and apparent harmlessness made her virtually invisible. People rarely questioned the cleaning lady. One night, cleaning the executive floor near Alex's suite, she saw him arguing with his chief financial officer, a nervous man named Peterson. Their voices were raised, carrying through the thick oak door Alex had left slightly ajar. "Can't keep burying these subsidiary losses, Alex. The auditors are asking questions about the Havenwood acquisition again." Peterson sounded panicked. "Havenwood is handled, Peterson," Alex snapped back, his voice cold. "Alistair took care of those loose ends years ago. Just make the numbers work." Havenwood, Alistair, loose ends. The words sent a jolt through Clara. Havenwood was the town where her great-grandfather's original lab had been located before Alistair moved everything to the city after his death. What loose ends needed handling? Clara felt a cold dread mix with her determination. This wasn't just about reclaiming a fortune. It might be about uncovering something far darker buried in the Sterling family's past. The opportunity, the midpoint twist, came during a scheduled system upgrade for the building's security network. For a brief window, between midnight and 2 a.m., certain lower-level sensors and key card readers would be offline for maintenance. A memo circulated, warning staff to rely on manual checks during that period. Clara knew this was her chance. That night, armed with copied keys obtained using impressions taken from wax, hidden in her cleaning supplies, and keypad codes she'd observed. She made her move. Heart pounding, she navigated the deserted lower levels, the emergency lights casting long, eerie shadows. The sub-basement air was cool, damp, smelling of dust and decay. She found the archive vault door. Heavy steel, an old-fashioned combination lock alongside a deactivated key card reader. She knelt, pulling small, specialized tools from hidden pockets within her uniform. Tools her grandfather, a locksmith haunted by the injustice done to his own father, had taught her to use on rainy afternoons filled with whispered stories of betrayal. Her fingers worked deftly, feeling the tumblers click, her breath held tight. Minutes stretched into an eternity. Finally, a soft clunk. The heavy door swung inward with a groan of protesting hinges. Success. Inside, rows upon rows of metal shelves groaned under the weight of decaying cardboard boxes and thick, dust-covered ledgers. The air was thick with the smell of aging paper. Using a small flashlight, Clara scanned the labels. Sterling Holdings, Pre-Incorporation, Alistair Sterling, Personal Correspondence, Bell Laboratories, Assets Transfer. Her heart leaped. Bell Laboratories. She pulled down a heavy box, coughing as dust filled the air. Inside, brittle folders tied with faded ribbon. Lab notebooks filled with elegant handwriting and complex diagrams. Thomas Bell's work. Letters between Thomas and Alistair, initially friendly, then growing strained. And then, at the very bottom, beneath a stack of invoices, she found it. A thick, leather-bound ledger. Its pages detailed the initial investments, the profit-sharing agreement, the intellectual property rights, clearly outlining a 50-50 partnership between Alistair Sterling and Thomas Bell. Signed by both men. Dated. Witnessed. Irrefutable proof. But there was more. Tucked into the back sleeve of the ledger, a series of increasingly desperate letters from Thomas Bell to Alistair, questioning missing funds, unauthorized patent filings under Sterling's name alone. The last letter, dated just days before Thomas Bell's fatal boating accident, spoke of confronting Alistair directly, threatening legal action. And clipped to that final letter, a small, folded note, not in Thomas's hand, but Alistair's distinctive, arrogant script. A memo to his then lawyer. Bell's situation becoming untenable. Resolve immediately. Use Havenwood Protocol. Havenwood Protocol. Resolve immediately. Clara felt ice slide down her spine. This wasn't just theft. It was likely murder. Covered up for generations. She carefully photographed everything with a burner phone, her hands shaking not from fear, but from a cold, righteous fury. She replaced the ledger, closed the vault, reset the combination lock, and slipped back through the deserted corridors, leaving no trace. Her invisibility cloak settled back around her. She finished her shift, emptying trash cans, wiping down surfaces, her mind racing with the enormity of what she'd found. The next morning, Alex Sterling strode into the lobby, radiating confidence, barking orders into his phone, completely oblivious to the quiet cleaning woman polishing the brass plaque bearing his family name. He didn't see Clara Bell. He saw the floor needed buffing. Clara waited until the end of her shift that evening. She clocked out, changed out of her uniform, but didn't leave the building. Instead, she took the elevator to the executive floor. She walked past startled assistants, directly to Alex Sterling's penthouse office suite, and knocked firmly. Alex looked up from his expansive desk, annoyed at the interruption. He saw the woman who cleaned the floors standing there, dressed now in simple but neat street clothes. Recognition flickered, followed by impatience. "What is it? I'm busy." "We need to talk, Mr. Sterling," Clara said, her voice calm, level. She stepped inside, closing the door quietly behind her. "About my great-grandfather, Thomas Bell, and about the Havenwood Protocol." Alex Sterling froze. The color drained from his face. The name Bell, meaningless just weeks ago, now struck him like a physical blow. He stared at the woman, truly seeing her for the first time. Seeing the intelligence in her eyes, the iron resolve beneath the quiet exterior. Seeing the ghost of a history he thought long buried standing in his office. The hidden truth wasn't just her identity or the stolen fortune. It was the chilling legacy of betrayal and likely murder upon which his entire empire was built, now brought to light by the very woman he'd used as a PR stunt, the invisible woman who held the power to destroy everything. When privilege blinds us to the people we deem insignificant, what hidden histories are waiting to be uncovered, and what price must be paid when the invisible finally demand to be seen? Drop your theory in the comments and subscribe for more stories where the truth has been swept under the rug for far too long.